My coworker demanded I stop typing so loud during his personal phone calls and said some of us actually have lives, so I replaced my mechanical keyboard with an on-screen one and projected every word I typed in 80 points font on the conference room monitor. He switched cubicles that afternoon. I've worked in tech support for almost a decade. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. We're based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Office job, open floor plan, beige cubicles, standard corporate nonsense. Nothing fancy. We've got about 30 people on our floor, and most of us mind our business. We wear headphones, type away, and just try to get through the day. Then Adam transferred in from our Atlanta office. I'd never met someone more entitled in my life. Mid-30s, always loud on the phone, always talking about how much money he made consulting on the side, bragging about his Tesla, he didn't drive it to work, and how his fiancée was a marketing queen at some startup in San Francisco. I didn't care either way, until he started making me a problem. I sit near the middle row, about 5 cubicles from the conference room. My desk setup is pretty normal. Dual monitors, docking station, water bottle, photos of my wife and kids. But I'll admit, I like my mechanical keyboard. It's not one of those flashy ones with rainbow lights, just a basic tankulus with blue switches. Click yes, loud, maybe a little, but never once in 5 years had anyone complained. Not once. Until Adam. The first time it was subtle. He walked over and said, "Hey man, just a heads up. Your keyboard's pretty loud. Kinda hard to concentrate." I nodded. Didn't realize. I'll try to be mindful. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. Maybe it was loud. Whatever. But then 2 days later, he came over again. This time while I was mid-call with a customer, and waved his hand at me like I was a bartender ignoring him. "I'm on a personal call," he said, loud enough for my headset mic to pick up. "Can you maybe cool it on the typing? Some of us actually have lives." I froze. My customer asked, "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, holding back what I really wanted to say. I ended the call early, made some excuse, and just sat there stewing. That comment, "some of us actually have lives," kept repeating in my head. I have a life. I have a wife who works nights at the hospital and 2 kids under 10. I get up at 5:30 every day, make lunches, do school drop-offs, work 8 hours, come home, cook dinner, help with homework, and get maybe an hour to myself before bed. I don't have time to sit around the office on personal calls like Adam does. And I sure as hell don't need to be mocked for typing during work hours. I decided to watch him. And I mean really watch him. Adam took at least 3 personal calls a day. Not work calls, actual loud phone chats with his brother, his fiancée, his old college buddy. He talked about fantasy football, weddings, some Airbnb he was renting, crypto, whatever. He'd walk over to the break room, or more often, sit right in his cubicle and chat like he was in Starbucks. And then when someone else made noise, like, say someone working, he'd glare. After a week of this, I talked to our floor manager, Rebecca. I asked her, "Hey, just curious, do we have any kind of office noise policy?" She gave me a look. "Not unless it's disruptive." "Why?" I told her I'd had a complaint about my keyboard, and she laughed. "Was it Adam?" she asked deadpan. I nodded. She sighed. "He's been adjusting. I'll talk to him again." Again? Rebecca just nodded slowly. So now I knew I wasn't crazy. This guy was just a chronic complainer. But I didn't want to be the guy who whines to management every time someone irritates me. I wanted to handle it differently. So I made a plan. First, I stopped using my mechanical keyboard. I unplugged it and put it in my drawer. Then I installed an on-screen keyboard. The kind where you click with your mouse instead of type. It's slow, yes, but that was the point. I set up my laptop to mirror to the big monitor in the empty conference room behind us, where the glass wall faced out toward the floor, and then made the font size 80 points, pure black on white background. Every key press appeared in massive letters. Click, R click, E click, P click, O click, R click, T slow, deliberate, obnoxious as hell. At first, no one noticed, until Adam started another one of his calls. I was maybe 3 words into typing, updated client notes, and rescheduled call for, when he spun around in his chair and saw the giant letters flickering across the glass wall behind him. "What the hell is that?" I looked up deadpan. Oh, I didn't want to bother anyone with my loud keyboard. Figured this was quieter. A few coworkers snorted. One outright laughed. Rebecca passed by and glanced up, smirking. Adam's face turned bright red. "This is immature." I smiled, just trying to keep the peace. He stormed off. 30 minutes later, his things are packed, and he'd moved to the far corner of the floor, next to the copier and the cold air vent no one liked. He never spoke to me again, not a word. But the best part? A week later, Rebecca pulled me aside. She said, HR talked to Adam. Turns out he had 3 complaints against him for harassment over the phone. Stuff he was saying out loud during personal calls. It was all on floor audio. You projecting your screen? That tipped them off to check the recordings. I didn't say anything, just nodded. I've got my mechanical keyboard back on my desk now. No one's complained. Adam still works here technically, but he doesn't talk much anymore. Just types, quietly, in the cold corner, by himself. I thought it was over after Adam moved Cubicles. For about 2 weeks, things were quiet, peaceful even. He didn't make snide comments, didn't wander the floor with his phone, just sat in his new corner and worked, headphones on, shoulders tight. I figured I embarrassed him bad enough that he got the message, but I underestimated him. One Thursday morning, around 10 a.m., Rebecca called me into her office. I walked in thinking it was about a client case or a new project. Instead, she shut the door behind me and said, "We need to talk about something serious." Right away, my stomach dropped. She turned her monitor toward me. There was an email chain pulled up, subject line, "Hostile work environment concern." It was from Adam. He had filed a formal complaint against me to HR, claiming I had harassed him publicly, created a hostile work atmosphere, and used office equipment in a threatening manner to shame and embarrass him. Rebecca saw my face and held up a hand. "Before you say anything, I've already spoken to HR. I told them what actually happened. They're reviewing the floor audio and security footage. But I wanted you to know Adam's not letting this go." I leaned back in the chair. "He started it." She nodded. "I know, but he's pushing hard. HR has to follow up. You might get called in." Sure enough, the next day, I got a formal meeting notice from HR. Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. That weekend, I barely slept. My wife asked me why I was so quiet during dinner. I told her what happened, and she just stared at me. "You're not going to get fired, right?" "I don't think so," I said. But deep down, I wasn't sure. Monday morning came. I showed up in a button-down and slacks. HR had a woman named Diane lead the meeting. She was polite, but stiff. "We're here today to discuss a formal complaint regarding workplace conduct. You're not in trouble. This is just a fact-finding process." She had a printout of the same email chain I saw. I explained everything, every step. The keyboard, the comment about some of us actually have lives, the screen projection. I kept my voice calm, clear. Just the facts. Diane listened, nodded, took notes. At the end, she said, "We've reviewed video from a floor. We also listened to audio from several days. Adam's calls contain inappropriate language and non-work conversations. We're handling that separately." Then she looked me straight in the eyes. "But we also need you to understand, escalating conflicts like this, even creatively, can reflect badly if it spreads tension." I took a hint. No matter who started it, HR sees drama as a mess to clean up, so I apologized for my part, said I didn't intend to humiliate anyone. That was the end of it. No, right up. Just a warning to keep things professional. Still, the whole thing rattled me. I'd never been called into HR before. Never even gotten a verbal warning in 10 years of working. Now this clown had me on edge, paranoid, wondering what he'd pull next. It got worse. Adam started talking to people behind my back. I could tell. The glances. The sudden quiet when I walked into the break room. He wasn't open about it, he was slick. Whispering things in one-on-one chats. Acting like a victim. Like I had bullied him. One guy, Marcus, actually said it to my face. "Hey man," he said one afternoon. "I heard you projected stuff on the wall just to embarrass Adam? What's the story there?" I kept it short. He told me to stop typing because it bothered his personal calls. I took it literally. Marcus nodded slowly. "Okay, but, some people think that was kind of over the line." I didn't argue. Just said, some people weren't there. But it kept happening. The gossip. The weird looks. One day, I walked into the office kitchen and 2 newer guys stopped mid-conversation. I said good morning, and one of them just nodded awkwardly. This was exactly what Adam wanted. To paint me as unstable, as hostile, as someone who couldn't handle conflict like a grown-up. And it worked. A month later, My annual performance review came up. Normally, Rebecca gives me glowing marks, but this time it was different. You're still one of our most reliable techs, she said, but there's been some concern around interpersonal stuff. The incident with Adam caused some ripple effects. I had to mark you down a bit on collaboration. I stared at the form. Because of him? It's not just that. It's how others perceive the team dynamic now. I left that review feeling sick. One guy, managed to poison everything. And all because I didn't roll over when he tried to walk all over me. So I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I started documenting everything. Every time he looked at me sideways. Every time someone repeated something they heard. Every Slack message. Every hallway interaction. I logged it all. And then I reached out to someone I knew from our compliance team. A guy named Earl, who used to work in our department before getting promoted. I told him I was concerned about retaliation, about being targeted with false claims. He told me, keep recording everything. If it escalates again, we'll have your back. That gave me a little comfort. But the war wasn't over, because that Friday afternoon, something huge happened. Someone forwarded me an anonymous email that had gone out to a bunch of people in the office. Subject, we don't all like living in a passive-aggressive circus. The email had no signature, but it was a rant, a full-on roast of me, calling me toxic, immature, a workplace bully, and accusing me of publicly humiliating a colleague for having boundaries. It didn't say my name, but everyone knew who it was about. The email went to nearly half the department. People were whispering about it in the halls. I printed it out, marched straight to Rebecca. She read it. Her face went pale. Who sent this? I shrugged. You tell me. She took it to HR. They started an internal IT trace. Company email. Internal server. Somebody had gone through the trouble of setting up a spoofed account from inside. They were trying to ruin my name. And that's when I realized Adam wasn't just annoying. He was dangerous. They found out who sent the email. Or at least, IT narrowed it down. The spoofed address was created from inside the building, on one of the company laptops. But it wasn't assigned to a desk. It was a loaner laptop. One of 5 we keep in the supply closet for guests or traveling staff. No login ID. No name. Convenient. Still, they had access logs. MAC address activity. Timestamps. The email had been sent on a Friday at 2:43 p.m., just before most people take off early for the weekend. Security footage showed one person near the supply closet that hour. Adam. He claimed he was looking for toner. Said he didn't even know how to spoof an email. But IT wasn't stupid. They flagged him. HR scheduled another meeting. This time, he was the one being called in. I didn't get the details, but the rumors started swirling again, and not in his favor this time. Then something weird happened. The following week, Adam called out sick for 3 days straight. He returned the next Monday looking different. No haircut, pale, twitchy. He didn't talk to anyone. No side chats, no loud calls, nothing. He just sat at his desk and typed quietly. I thought maybe it was over. But the tension? It got worse. Because now other people started showing their real faces. One afternoon, I went to grab a sandwich from the fridge, and when I came back to my desk, I found a yellow sticky note on my monitor. It said, "You're no hero. Stop pretending." No name. No handwriting I recognized. That's when it hit me. It wasn't just Adam. Some people liked him. I guess in his first few weeks, he must have built relationships I hadn't noticed, grabbed drinks with the younger guys, joined some after-hours trivia group, maybe even dated someone in accounting. Whatever it was, a small group had bought into his whole fake charm. And now, because I didn't roll over and play nice, they were coming for me too. I felt trapped. I couldn't fight invisible enemies. I couldn't report a sticky note. I couldn't complain every time I got a side eye in the break room. My wife noticed I wasn't myself. "You're quiet lately," she said one night after the kids were asleep. "Is it still that guy at work?" I nodded. "It's more than that now. I feel like I'm being hunted." "You're not," she said gently. "You're being targeted. That's different. And you know how you fix that?" I waited. You shine a light. Expose everything. So I did. Over the next month, I built a case. Screenshots. Logs. I submitted another report to HR. This time with more than just words. I included names, dates, Slack convos, anonymous messages, even a photo of the sticky note, which I had compared to others around the office. Guess what? The handwriting matched notes Adam had posted on the team whiteboard. I didn't accuse him outright. I just laid everything out. And I copied compliance this time, not just HR. That's when things exploded. 3 people were called into separate meetings. I saw Adam get pulled into one. I saw 2 of the guys he hung out with regularly, Brian from marketing and Jordan from IT, get pulled in 2. A day later, there was a company-wide email. It wasn't detailed, just a vague message from upper management saying, "We are investigating an internal matter and want to remind everyone that our values include professionalism, respect, and integrity. Retaliation of any kind is strictly prohibited." But everyone knew. The whispering stopped. For the first time in months, the office was silent. And Adam? He didn't come back after lunch. Then, just after 4 p.m., I saw him walking through the front doors, carrying a cardboard box. Jacket slung over one shoulder. Not a single person said a word to him. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. That night, around 9:45 p.m., my wife shook me awake. "Come look at this," she said, holding her phone. It was Facebook. Someone had posted a long, vague rant on a local community page about a toxic office snake who plays victim while destroying people's reputations. It was written in that passive-aggressive way you see online. No names, but it was obvious. The post had over 70 comments, and one of them included my name. Someone wrote, "Wait, isn't this about that guy from Citadel Tech? That's the dude who projected keyboard text in a meeting room to humiliate a coworker." Right. Now, my name was out there, publicly. I was furious. I wanted to comment. I wanted to scream. But my wife stopped me. "No," she said. "Let it sit. Let them talk. Every troll eventually outs themselves." She was right, because the next day, Earl from compliance called me. He said, "We need to meet. Off-site." Off-site? We met that evening at a quiet Panera Bread off Free Road. He brought a folder. Inside was a printout of a private group chat log. The IT security team had flagged it after the Facebook post. It was from a private Slack group. 6 members. Adam, Brian, Jordan, 2 other names I didn't recognize. And, shockingly, Kara, the front desk admin. They had been sharing gossip, screenshots, even work documents. They had been planning how to get me written up, how to expose me online, and even joked about leaving anonymous Glassdoor reviews to ruin my reputation. They'd been planning this for weeks, maybe longer. Earl looked me in the eye and said, "This isn't office drama anymore. This is targeted defamation using internal systems." He closed the folder. "We're launching a full investigation." The investigation took 6 weeks. During that time, I kept my head down, did my work, stayed late, came in early. I didn't speak unless spoken to. And even then, I kept things short. The energy in the office was like a stretched rubber band. Tense, quiet, ready to snap. People avoided eye contact. Some looked at me like I had a ticking timer strapped to my back. I didn't care. The only thing that mattered now was truth. Then one Tuesday morning happened. We got the email. Subject line: internal findings and personnel update. The company didn't hold back. They said that after an internal investigation, 5 employees were terminated for misuse of internal communication systems, violation of harassment policy, and breach of confidentiality. They didn't name names, but we knew. Adam, Brian, Jordan, Kara, and some girl from billing I never even spoke to. All of them, just like that. The Slack group? Deleted. Access revoked. Devices turned in. Their key cards were wiped before the email even went out. And the best part? The company said legal action was being considered because client documents had been involved in their little group chat. That meant breach of contract with certain partners. It was big. I exhaled for the first time in weeks. Later that day, Rebecca stopped by my desk. She didn't say much, just dropped a folded note and walked away. Inside was a handwritten message. "I never doubted you. I'm sorry I couldn't say more during the storm. You deserved better than that. R." I kept that note. Still have it in my drawer. But the story didn't end in the office. It bled out into the real world. A few weeks after the firings, someone forwarded me a Facebook post. It was from Adam's fiancée, long raw public. She wrote that she had called off the engagement. Said she found messages between Adam and a coworker he swore he barely spoke to, Kara. The front desk admin screenshots were included. Flirty stuff, inappropriate messages sent during work hours, all while she was trying to plan their wedding in San Francisco. She ended the post by saying, "I gave him 4 years. I paid half his rent while he transitioned between roles. And now I'm finding out he was cheating and lying about his job? This man is not who I thought he was." Hundreds of likes, dozens of shares. People ate it up. Then I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter. They said someone referred me to a security compliance role that had just opened up at a tech firm in Raleigh. More money, fully remote, better benefits, no open floor plan. I interviewed, got the job, put in my 2-week notice that same week. Rebecca hugged me when I told her, "You didn't just survive this place," she said. "You buried the rot." 6 months passed. Then one evening, I got a random DM on Reddit. No name, just a username I didn't recognize. The message said, "You happy now? You ruined lives." I ignored it. 2 nights later, another message. "My kid won't talk to me anymore. I had to move back in with my mom. You think this is justice?" This time I replied, "I think it's consequences." Blocked the account. I never confirmed it was Adam, but I bet my last paycheck it was him. Last I heard, he tried to land a job at a mid-sized marketing firm in Charleston and got rejected during background checks. Word travels, especially when your name is tied to internal investigation and legal review. Brian and Jordan? No longer in tech. Jordan's LinkedIn vanished. Brian's working at some retail store in Asheville, according to a buddy who spotted him folding clothes at an outlet mall. Kara? Her name came up in a lawsuit filed by the company. Turns out she shared restricted client emails in that Slack group. They're suing her personally. I don't know how she's paying for a lawyer. And me? I work from home now. My kids are thriving. My wife sleeps better at night. I don't dread opening my inbox. I type as loud as I want. Cherry MX blue switches. Click, click, click. No one complains because I stood up for myself. And they didn't just lose their jobs. They lost their grip, their masks, their lives they pretended to have. Sometimes revenge doesn't come with fireworks or dramatic speeches. Sometimes it's just a slow, cold crash of reality, and watching from the other side of the glass as everything they built on lies comes tumbling down, one click at a time.